Good evening. Namaste. Let us become present right here, right now. Let us become centered, anchored, and grounded in this present moment. For it is in this moment that God is. May we open our body, our mind, and our soul and feel, sense, and know God's amazing grace. For it is moving in, through, and around this moment in each of us, inside and out, always. Let us move forward with that deep knowing. Hello everyone, welcome to Wednesday night, the Amazing Grace service. We're continuing along with the Way of Mastery, the book, using that as a tool really because it has all the principles in it, so we get to remember the principles and evoke them into our real life. And tonight we're talking at the end, it's only 34 chapters and we're on 27 and 28 tonight. And 27 is all about being love, our purpose is love, and 28 is you create your experience, basically. And so it was really powerful, you know, on how the two of these come together, starting with that our whole purpose is love. As I spoke about before, I'm kind of commingling because it seems like once you put your attention and focus on a specific subject, the entire universe conspires and brings it to you. As I talked about, the Way of Mastery is one of those kinds of teachings which really teaches that it is all perfect, resist nothing, that love transforms. In fact, that's probably the greatest teaching that I've gotten from it, that love brings healing, love transforms all things. That when we step into the consciousness and the awareness of love, then we are tapping in and utilizing and focusing the greatest power that there is, that literally goes before you and changes your world and changes the people and changes everything around you when you're in the vibration of love. And I've been reading recently, I've spoken about it, I just read from it, the book An Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Oprah has been studying that and had it and called it one of her favorite books right now. And it is, I am absolutely loving this book. In fact, I'm only on the 3rd chapter. It's The Lucid Self, but I could just read that chapter over and over and over again. As it talks about who we really are, and I think that's the real secret to our spiritual journey. We need to get really clear on who we are. Unfortunately, we put all our attention on the experiences and the actions and the things that are going on the outside world, and we put all our weight and we put all our value on that. In fact, we define our whole being by that. And the truth is, in this more advanced study that seems to be coming, it's that we need to step back, we need to lean back, and we need to realize that the truth of who we are isn't these emotions, isn't these thoughts, isn't these beliefs, isn't any of these. That really the truth of who we are, as I spoke about a couple of weeks ago in Ho'oponopono, is this sense that is the observer, is that which is watching. They say in the book, it is that part which sees what's being seen and can define it. It's that part that hears what is being heard, or it's that part that thinks, that watches the thinker that is thinking and giving the thought. It's that observer that sits back and actually can define. They talk about it in the lucid self from being that it's almost like when you're in a dream. And we've all had these kinds of dreams where we're actually dreaming, we're sleeping, we're dreaming, but we're watching the dream. We're going, hey, isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? And we are actually, if you will, talking about the dream, in the dream, while we're asleep watching it. It's that aspect of consciousness that I was reading about that is the truth of our being. And in that aspect of consciousness, there's only well-being, there's only peace, there's only perfect right action from that part of us that is behind the physical, in the non-form. And so it's that what the untethered soul invites you to do is to be that witness self, to literally look at all the things that are happening in your life and say, oh, look at that happening. Oh, look at that happening. Isn't that interesting? Look at that. And to go towards life from that perspective, so it's one step back of attachment on what's happening out there, knowing that this is not me. The me is the one that's observing these things that's happening. And so in this chapter with the Way of Mastery on 27, which says our purpose is love, it says very clearly, and it says that our entire purpose, our whole purpose for being is one thing and one thing only, and that is to be that place where God is, but that is to extend love. So if you think about that and you think about how could I live that teaching, or what does that really mean? And the truth is that it's all the Bible talks about too, and that's all Jesus talked about, was love. And you say, how can I be the extension of love? How can I extend love in my everyday life? What they're saying is that in every single moment, I don't care what's going on. I don't care if you're on the freeway. I don't care if you're at the grocery store. I don't care what is happening in the outside world. Your only purpose is to extend love. How could you do that? How could you just be? How could you live your life and just know that all the things that are going on, the argument that's going on, all the things that are going on, that the only reason you're standing there and your only purpose and the only thing you're supposed to do is to extend love? How would your world be different? What would that mean? That means that you're not engaging in it at all. This means you're stepping back and you're just being that place of love. And when you know the power that love has, then literally what you're doing is changing everything. Think about that. If you could live that way, if you could live that way where you know every single purpose, every single thing you're doing, all you're doing right here is to extend love. Whether you're going to work, whatever you're doing, all I'm doing is just, I'm here to be love. Because that's what God is. And that's what we are. That's our extension. So that would be a powerful way in which to live. They even talked about it further, about the power of love, and I really like this, and I wanted to share it with you. In fact, I didn't only really like this, I really like this part. So I had to share this with you. Those of you that know only love is real are not concerned with what they eat and what they drink. For these things come into the body and they leave through the body. They are concerned only with whether or not that which they consume for the sake of the body was consumed in love. So now we can take this concept into the food we're eating and all that we're doing. We don't have to be concerned anymore. For love is what allows the transmutation of anything that comes into the physical system and allows it to be turned into that which supports the energetic wholeness of the physical system itself. It is far greater to have a bottle of scotch for breakfast in a state of total Christed love than it is to have 9,000 vitamins with one tiny little fearful thought. So that is something for you to think about. Gosh, was that cool? Wouldn't that be neat if it were true? For you see, it is fear that causes you to be unable to digest what you place in the body of the emotions or the body of the mind. It is what causes stress in the subtle system of the body and the subtle non-physical bodies, the emotional body, the mental body, and the causal body. What causes the greatest problem is your refusal to digest what you have taken in. Just as food is a physical substance taken into the body, an experience of any kind is a food that has been called to the soul. Anything that arises that cannot pass through you, through your unwillingness to embrace it with love, to feel it completely, will cause indigestion of the physical, emotional, mental, and causal beings or bodies. Therefore, beloved friends, learn to digest all things in love. Learn to digest the traffic jam in love. Learn to digest the dying of a pet in love. Learn to digest an apple in love. Learn to digest a hurtful thought in love. Learn to digest a misperception that there is something wrong with the world around you with love. Transform all things by the power of your own reality or love. So the question they ask is, what is it that I have not been willing to digest about my life? Or about this world? What is it that I have refused to bring love to? That's powerful. That's a powerful question. For it is in love that is perfect right action. It's in love that everything that unfolds and transforms everything. It's in love. That feeling, that aspect of love. It goes forward to talk about also that everything is absolutely perfect. All things. So we're not to fight the world or resist the world or anything. We just stand where it is, understanding the perfection of it and knowing that all things are perfect. It talks about this. It says the way of knowing the world of space and time is seen differently in the way of knowing. The world is external to self. That part of us that is observing, the world is external to that, not something that has power over us or something to fear or to conform to. You become liberated from the misperception that there is something wrong going on in the world. Give up the pressure of trying to make the world go a certain way. So each moment you are in the right place at the right time. From love, the choices you make, the decisions you embrace, the actions you take, the thoughts you think, all help in the awakening of everything, yourself and everyone. So can we quit trying to fix the outside world? Can we quit trying to fix all of this stuff? Is this really true? Is this really powerful enough that if we were to move within, if we were to move into that consciousness, which means awareness, if we were to move into that aspect of ourself, if we were to become totally awake, totally aware, and to live from that as the observer of the world and the observer of the outside things, not ever trying to fix it and change it and make it different, but literally trust it, literally understand the power of love and to immerse ourselves in that place of love and let be and let unfoldment happen, knowing that everything that is being created is absolutely perfect to take us to that place where we're wanting to go, which is God. If we were to be able to live in that aspect, that level of trust, how much peace would we have? If we could just trust and let be. If we could just know that there's an intelligence of this world that is in operations, that it is absolutely all perfect. All the way down to the food we eat. If we were to eliminate fear and do it because we do it from love, not trying to get rid of anything, but stepping into something, stepping into love. It goes further in this chapter to talk about non-attachment, which is a tough subject, you know, but it is the core subject of Buddhism, and it happens to be the core subject of most higher spiritual teachings. Non-attachment. And so when you look at that, you know, and in the Bible they talk about that too, to give up your worldly possessions and non-attachment. And it's like, you know, I don't like that very much. I like my house, I like my car, I like a job, I like food, I like those things. I don't want to give it up, and that's the misperception that's in the Bible that you hear about, that non-attachment means you can't have those wonderful, nice, worldly things. That's not true. You give up the attachment to them. And so I was trying to take this into real life, thinking that, you know, well, I really like watching the sunset. Or I really like living where I live. Or I like my car. But what do I like about it? I like my relationship with my kids and my family, and I love my relationship in general. And, you know, it's like, But the truth is that the observer, the one that's watching that, it's not the outside things. We think it's the outside thing. We think it's the sunset that's evoking my appreciation and my love for all things. But the truth is I have to have appreciation and love inside of me. I've allowed it to turn the switch on for me. The switch of, wow, I really love this beautiful sunset, or I love this beautiful home I live in, or I love this wonderful car. I've allowed this outside thing to turn the switch on, but the love was within me. The gratitude was within me. It's that feeling tone. It's that sense. It doesn't have to have those outside things to turn it on. And that's what they're talking about, give up the attachment for. Because as in Buddhism and some of the great teachings, that's where the suffering is. If I have to have this in order to be happy, to be in the space of love, or to be in the space of gratitude, if I can't let things ebb and flow and move through and be able to give those things up, that's where suffering is. And that's what the Bible was talking about. That's what Buddhism is talking about. We know that it's all within us. All of those feelings, that all those possessions we think give us are already within us. And we can even close our eyes. In fact, I don't need that sunset or whatever I'm watching from my house in order for me to feel that way. I can close my eyes and imagine that, and go right into that space of love and gratitude. I can close my eyes and imagine the relationships I've had with my children or my parents who are no longer with me, or whatever that is. And I can go right into that place of love and gratitude. In fact, the world of form evokes within us the feeling. It isn't something we have to hold on to so that we have the feeling. We've just allowed it to evoke the feeling which was already there, which is an infinite supply and present all the time. Think about it. You're getting new things that make you happy all the time, that you see, that you allow to make you happy. I remember I had my brother over at my house, and he was really busy doing something, and his wife said, "Honey, come look at the sunset." And he's like, "The sun sets every night, you know, I'm busy doing this." And we looked at it like, oh my, you know, you're not going to stop and take time to see the sunset, you know. But when you think about it, he was busy doing what he was doing. That whole aspect of joy and all those things were the value we gave it. Not that he doesn't have those same values and things that turn him on. He loves to go fishing or do what he loves to do. So when we take the concept of attachment and being non-attached to the things, what we're really saying is that we realize that all that those things evoke in us are ours. They're infinite supply. They're there for us. They're never going to go away. That we're always going to have new ones. There's always going to be those new experiences because we choose to open our eyes to see it. We choose to know it. He talks about attachment here. And he said, when one is identified with form, it suffers. And when one is liberated from the attachment of form, it is free. The difference is what we are focused on. When we focus on things, we can't focus on heaven. So we don't get to heaven. When we're focused on things, it's the source of our suffering because we're wanting to hang on to it, and there's a lack that's involved in it. It's impossible to get to heaven. It just depends on where we focus. So if we focus on our love and our joy and the feelings that it evokes and what a wonderful life we live and how beautiful things are and those kinds of things, then we start seeing them in, through, and as everything, always. So we understand the power of consciousness and staying in that space. When it goes to the next chapter, he talks about creating. He talks about doing, I think, what's it called, a dowsing rod? I think that's what they're called. And he has an experiment that he invites us to do. And he said, just get like a coat hanger, actually, something with 2 pieces of metal that goes through that you can hang on to. He said, put a friend about 20 feet out and hold on to the dowsing rod and have that friend start thinking about really negative things. About things like, you know, gosh, I'm not worthy, I don't have enough, you know, this is really difficult, you know, I wish I weighed less, you know, I have a horrible boss. Just have them them think about this, and this is something they invited all of us to be able to do. And just start 20 feet out and start walking towards your friend and holding the rod. And at a certain point, and actually it's when you get pretty close to your friend, the rod actually starts moving. It starts picking up the energy that that individual is giving off. Then they invite you to move back 20 or 30 feet again and have that same individual think about something that's pleasant, that's happy, that's positive, that's about love, that's about beauty, that's about peace, that's about joy, and all of those things. Have them get completely into that space and walk forward with the dowsing rod again. And what you find is that you are way further away, that those positive energies are way further away from the individual, that field that they create around them, that aura field of that is much larger and much more expansive. He goes forward to explain, which is pretty powerful. We all know this, but it's kind of nice to remember that's why when you, for instance, are in business, you go into a bank for loan. If you're sitting there saying, well, this is just not going to work, I don't know if they're going to give it to me, and you're all nervous, or you have fear, even if it's around your food or whatever it is, then the individual, they're picking up, because your whole energy field around you is that of fear and doubt and negativity. So the chances of getting a loan are much lower than if you walk in and you're in the field of love, and you're in the field of perfect right action and trusting and all of those things. You walk into any experience, your field is so large, it transforms and changes the people that are around you. It even goes further to say that thought aspect of it not only is just here, but it actually is infinite. That those thought aspects, the energy of that is faster than the speed of light. It actually goes much further than we can even ever know. And that's how it transforms all things. That's how it shifts our whole way of being. This teaching is powerful to know that life works, that all things are unfolding perfectly, that there's no need to have an attachment to it, because this consciousness, this awareness self that is eternal, that doesn't need the body, but actually is utilizing the body, is observing the body and all the forms and all the activities and all those things. That sole purpose is to be love, is to be that place which expresses it and sends it out into the world and transforms the world, people, things, our lives, everything. That's literally what we do. That's what our focus and our concern is. That's where the strength of us is. So I invite you to try a couple of those things and kind of see if you were to literally be able to stand still and ask yourself that I am the extension of love, my purpose is love, that is why I am in this spot, in this moment, right here, right now. That is what I'm going to do in every single moment that I walk, and see what happens to your own individual life. I think it'll be pretty powerful and worth doing. In that aspect of love, let's turn within together as we close our eyes to this outside world. Let us take for just a moment and to watch. You know, the most powerful meditation is just that. It's moving inside into our inner self and closing off all those things that we are watching and just feeling the me that I am right now. Feeling it. Actually, as our breath becomes slower, so does our thoughts and our words, and we just settle into that observing self where there's no activity going on. For that is God. It's in that space that the infinite potential of love and peace and joy and good rests. It's in that space where our lives are transformed, where lives around us and energy and space around us is literally transformed, where shift happens and things become perfect. For the soul knows the quickest path to God. The soul already knows, calls unto us the life experiences and everything necessary for the quickest path to God. So let us just rest back, fully awake, fully aware, in gratitude, in love, in those feelings, attached to nothing, but knowing That God is and I am. And I stand as that vessel right here and now. And so it is. Amen. All right, if there's anyone else you're thinking about, just bring them into this circle here, for we are moving to that consciousness place. That place that is the observer place, that is the same within you and I and all of us. That's where we are in that one mind. It's that one consciousness, it's that one awareness that is perfection, that is wholeness, that is truth, that is grace, that is wisdom, that is peace, that is love, that is joy. It's in that consciousness place that is within each and every one of us that we all share, which is God, the activity of God. And so we move all of those names that have been spoken here and all of us and every person that walks this planet into that place of wholeness, which we hold and know within our individual being. Knowing that this world and the effects of this world, sometimes like watching the TV, we can be so focused in on it, we forget all the stuff that's happening and all the truth of our being. So let us bring our focus and the focus of the individuals that we love back and see the truth and the expansiveness and the allness of life. That God is right there. The wisdom of God is right there. That every single soul knows perfect path to take, the fastest way to God, and all experiences are just that, something that we have created that is absolutely perfect to take us to where we want to be. And so we sit with compassion and we sit with love as we know this truth and hold the truth and become that radiant place of light that is expanded out past our being, that love and light. Knowing that that is the truth of who and what I am, I stand as that lighthouse. Immersed in love, knowing my only purpose is to extend love, to know love, to be love, and to never forget it in every moment. And transform this world and my world and the world of all individuals and everything. I give great thanks for this truth as I allow it to be. And so it is. Amen. May you always feel the embrace of God. May your heart radiate with love and light. May you know that your every step is guarded and guided. And may you feel, sense, and know God's amazing grace. For it is in, through, and around us always, and in all ways. God bless you all. Go forth in peace. Good night.